In this session, we will be discussing the last two local composition models. These are UNIQUAC and UNIFAC. And here, definitely, we will not go for the deriving the final form of this excess Gibbs energy according to these models in case of a binary system, but rather we will try to understand the final form and the basic logic with which these corresponding forms are derived. So the reason is, in undergrad level, it's quite complicated. The derivation itself is algebraically tedious and incorporates the different concepts and quantify those concepts and incorporate it in the main formulation. The concepts here, as I mentioned also in NRTL, the two liquid model has been used. The quasi-chemical approach originally proposed by Guggenheim, that was also incorporated, and definitely it is the local composition which was used in UNIQUAC. So first let us discuss this UNIQUAC model, right? And after that, as an extension of it, it's a simple advancement of it, right? The same approach which has been advanced based on certain ideas of functional groups and all. So that we will discuss in UNIFAC model. So in UNIQUAC, so this stands for universal quasi chemical model, right? This was proposed by Abrams et al. In 1975, right? So this assumes, you see, two liquid concept, quasi-chemical approach. These two are the measure, right? So definitely once we are going for two liquid concept and quasi-chemical approach, automatically this local composition, the idea of local composition is inbuilt in that. Okay. So just similar to any other local composition model is UNIQUAC, we have this excess Gibbs energy as combinatorial part plus this residual part, right? Actually this, combinatorial and this as residual. So combinatorial residual, that split is pertinent for Gibbs energy of mixing, but basically as you see that Gibbs energy of mixing is equal to the excess Gibbs energy plus Gibbs energy change due to ideal mixing. So there the form of del G mix ID is x1 ln x1 plus x2 ln x2. So that if you incorporate, so we can actually write this excess Gibbs energy as well as a combination of combinatorial term. So this is the combinatorial term and arising out of the differences in size and shape, whereas this is the residual term originates because of differences in interaction. Right. So individual expressions of combinatorial residual excess Gibbs energy, the forms are proposed, that is GC E of RT, it's equal to this x1 ln phi 1 by x1. The first part you see, it's very similar to the Flory-Huggins model, right? Plus additionally we have this z by 2 q1 x1 ln of theta 1 by phi 1 plus q2 x2 ln of theta 2 by phi 2. Right? And this residual is definitely based on interaction. This is minus q1 prime x1 ln of this theta 1 prime plus tau 2 1 theta 2 prime minus q2 prime x2 ln of theta 2 prime plus tau 1 2 theta 1 prime. Now let's understand the different parameters, right? So xi is a typical mole fraction, phi I the volume fraction, and here it's expressed as xi Ri divided by summation of xi Ri, where Ri is the volume parameter. We'll discuss about it. Volume parameter of component I. Right. So that's, and Z is the coordination number. Usually Z equal to 10. Why? Because for a simple cubic lattice, it's some kind of average value or intermediate value. For cubic lattice, Z is equal to 6. For hexagonal lattice, Z equal to 12. So somewhat 10 has been optimized in most of the cases for this liquid solution. Right. So that's this coordination number, Z equal to 10. So next is theta, right? So theta I is basically the surface fraction of molecule I, which is equal to geometric surface parameter. Right. So Qi is the geometric surface parameter of component I, and theta I prime is the, or rather we should say that this surface fraction of molecule, it will be the geometric surface fraction, and this theta I prime will be something. You see the theta I is appearing in only the combinatorial case here, theta 1 and theta 2, whereas theta 1 prime, theta 2 prime, it is different to some extent from theta. Actually in the original derivation, this theta and theta prime, they were considered to be same, but however from this better match and from to this interpret the actual molecular interaction, we have to understand that the molecule, two components of the molecules of the two components, they do not interact with the entire surface area. There is some specific region with which it interacts, right? Because where we have the compatible functional groups and polarities, then we will have that over this region actually the interaction proliferates. So definitely the theta and theta prime, they are different. So theta I prime, this is the geometric surface fraction of the molecule. So interaction based or interaction related surface fraction of molecule I, and that's equal to xi qi prime divided by summation of xi qi prime. and you see Qi prime is the surface area of interaction for component I. Right? So, additionally, we have this tau 1 2 and tau 2 1. So, these are interaction degeneracy, Boltzmann degeneracy equivalent term. So, you see this tau ji is equal to exponential of this minus uji minus uii by RT, right, and which we can simplify further as exponential of minus aji by RT, right. So this is aji by RT, and that is the Boltzmann degeneracy term. Of Ij interaction. So it's a big expression, and you see that this part is basically the combinatorial part originally included in the Flory-Huggins theory, but Flory-Huggins theory was only restricted to that. The surface area based configurational assessment was not present in the Flory-Huggins theory, but here this has been included, and that is the basically the advantage of using this two liquid and quasi-chemical approach. Whereas this residual part is exclusively contributed by enthalpy, right? So there is no entropic contribution. So basically, in cases, we can actually say that entropic contribution is a combinatorial contribution, whereas enthalpic contribution is residual contribution. Okay. Now the point is, this is for a binary system, it's again a two parameter model. So we will discuss, there are only two adjustable parameters. For binary system, there are only two adjustable parameters, which are these A12 and A21 here. A12 and A21, there are only two adjustable parameters, contrary to three adjustable parameters present in NRTL. Contrary to three parameters of NRTL. Now the fact is that these parameters are also less dependent on temperature. So these are the advantageous points. A12 and A21 are less dependent on temperature, and that's why it's applicable for wide variety of systems. Right? VLE, it can use to describe VLE, LLE, SVE, VLLE, etc. Lot of systems can be described, that vapor-liquid equilibrium, liquid-liquid equilibrium, solid-vapor equilibrium, maybe solid-liquid, vapor-liquid-liquid equilibrium, everything can be, it has got a general scope basically. Now this volume parameter and the surface parameter, if I am not going into this idea of difference of Qi and Qi prime, so we have to understand that there is a difference of Qi and Qi prime, but let's focus on how to solve or how to get this volume parameter and area parameter. Right? So this is very, very important understanding, and actually this idea of the solution of solving this Ri and this Qi, so this has been further extended in UNIFAC systems. So you see that how to calculate Ri and Qi, right? So how to calculate this Ri and Qi? So Ri, it was written that it is the summation over k nu ki Rk, and Qi is equal to summation over k nu ki Qk. Now this is functional group based approach. Like you see that if I have say nxn, right, nxn CH3 CH2 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 CH3. Now you can say that nxn is a combination of two CH3 group plus 4 CH2 groups. Okay. So if I know the expressions for or values of this volume parameter for individual functional group, we can easily calculate this Ri and Qi, the volume and the area. So why this is so important? This is important because you see that Ri and Qi, it's not possible to have a database for this huge number of different components. It's not possible. So in order to calculate it, what they did, otherwise it will be an adjustable parameter. This Ri, Qi, this will be treated as an adjustable parameter. So what they did, they actually break it down into functional groups. Now functional groups, the number of functional groups is definitely less than 100, right? So you can have a database for Rk and Qk for different types of the functional groups. Now a molecule is composed of some finite combinations of different functional groups, just like we can see that Hexane is basically a combination of 4 CH2 group and 2 CH3 group, right? So if I know the individual data set of R and capital Q for this Hexane, this R and capital R and capital Q for CH3 group and CH2 group, right? From the database of Uniqua, we can solve for the Ri, that is the volume parameter and area parameter of that specific compound. So basically, you have to understand that Ri is basically a number of segments of the molecule I with respect to a standard molecular size, right? So this is the volume of van der Waals sphere of component I divided by the volume of van der Waals sphere of some reference compound, right? So this reference compound in some unit, it has got a fixed value. It is the standard reference compound is somewhere related to polymethylene and all. And similarly, you see this Qi also we can write that the surface area of this van der Waals sphere, right, divided by the van der Waals sphere size of the same reference. So this is for the compound and we are not tabulating it. But if we tabulate the same value for the individual functional group, my problem is solved because my database size will be finite. Just like as an example, you see that in any standard book you will find a table or Uniqua table giving you the values of capital Rk and capital Qk, right? Capital Rk and capital Qk It is formed just like it is just the table, the columns are main group, like the main group is CH2, right? So subgroups, what are the subgroups? Under this main group we can have the subgroup CH3, we can have subgroup CH2, we can have subgroup CH, we can have subgroup C, and it has got index number K, so 1, 2, 3 and 4. So just like Rk, now Rk has got no unit, it's dimensionless, as you can understand. The same is true for the functional group itself. So this is 0.9011, this is 0.6744, this is 0.4469, this is 0.2195, and for the same the Qk values are 0.8480, then 0.5400, then 0.2280, then this is 0, right? So you see that for this nxn, what will be this R of nxn? We can solve it as 2 into CH3 groups R is 0.9011 plus 4 into CH2 groups R is 0.6744. So 0.6744. And similarly we can find out the Q of nxn as 2 into this nxn 2-methyl group 0.8480 plus this 4 into this CH2 group, that is 0.54, right? So it's dimensionless quantities and we can solve for these Qi and Ri, right? Using the idea of the functional group, okay? So the thing is, as I mentioned, that UniQuark being a 2-parameter model, and these 2 parameters has got a very little temperature dependence, right? And it has got all the positive qualities of NRTL, but it drops this additional parameter of non-randomness. So it is applicable for polar and non-polar, and we can apply it for VLE, LLE, SB, VLLE, etc. However, this UniQuark, though its applicability domain is wide, but sometimes it is less accurate than NRTL and Wilson, specifically in gauging the VLE data, right, or interpreting this VLE data. Now, from this last 2 parameter, there was a kind of approach that let's go for a model which will be going to give me nearly 0 parameter if we have a properly designed or arranged database, okay, and that is called UniFAC. Originally the UniFAC model was proposed by this Brownidge, this group, but there were a lot of modifications and finally the form came out around 1978, 77, like that. So this UniFAC this stands for Universal Functional Group. AC stands for Activity Coefficient, right? So this is a combination of UniQuark and an idea of considering the solution as a solution of functional group instead of different molecular components, or instead of different components in molecular form, right? So see, that idea actually was developed from the last part of the unique walk calculation. What we did in the last? We actually calculated small Ri and small Qi, that is the volume parameter and surface parameter, based on the functional group properties, right? The functional group volume, same volume parameter and same area parameter that we have considered and that we have tabulated, okay? From there we are trying to calculate this Ri and Qi for individual compounds. So this reduces the size of the database because the number of compounds are infinite, whereas the number of functional groups are less than 100, right? So you can have a table of these 100 different functional groups and we can have the detailed, accurate information of their volume parameter, area parameter, the geometric area parameter, maybe additionally the interaction area parameter. Now, the thing is that we can have this ln of gamma I, because the Gibbs energy, you see the excess Gibbs energy by RT, that's a sum of combinatorial part plus this residual part. So ln gamma I must be sum of a combinatorial part and a residual part. Now combinatorial part has nothing to worry about. This is same as unique walk, because the combinatorial part consists of the terms theta I, phi I, qi, right? Maybe theta I prime, there's not theta I prime was not there, theta I, phi I, z and xi. So it can be solved, right? But in the residual part of unique walk, if we see, then there were terms tau 12 and tau 21 which are interaction energy terms. And in that term we have two adjustable parameters A12 and A21 like all other models. Now A12 and A21 are compound a kind of interaction, and as I mentioned the number of compounds is infinite. So this A12 and A21 they were regarded as unique walk as adjustable models. But if we can think or if we can write the same as some interaction between the functional groups, the interaction between the compound, we are trying to replace it as equivalent interaction of functional groups, right? So here comes the novelty. Solved upon considering, this was solved upon considering the solution as a solution of their functional groups. Like you see, we have a solution of benzene and toluene, right? Solution of benzene and toluene. So you see that this is a solution of benzene, say component 1, and here it's component 2, so it's a binary solution, right? However, we are viewing it as a solution of 3 different groups. Right? A phenyl group, methyl group and hydrogen group. So, in this picture, a pure species is also a solution of definitely its respective functional groups. Okay, so that's a very, very novel idea. and that idea was actually inbuilt in UniQuark, particularly in the evaluation procedures what they have followed for small ri and small qi. So the point is, if I think that okay, two compounds are interacting, which is C6H6 and C6H5CH3, or maybe ethanol and water, they are interacting. So whether their interaction is same as that of the interactions of their functional groups? Actually yes. Okay. So this was a statement. I am directly will copy the statement here. So what is the statement you see? The statement is, it was originally proposed by Langmuir, that force field around a group of radicals which can interact with other molecules is largely independent of the nature of the rest of the molecules. This was a proposition by Langmuir long back in 1925, you see. So this theory, this idea, which was appeared in some paper of Langmuir in around 1925, the same idea was finally applied in UniFact. That whenever we are thinking it's interaction between the benzene and toluene, we will think that okay, it's interaction between the phenyl group, hydrogen group and methyl group. That's a ternary interaction between these three groups, and which is resulting into this non-ideality, that is finally giving you the measure of excess Gibbs energy. So thing is, with this basic idea, now we will not go for the derivation, we will try to understand the final form of this residual activity coefficient. As I mentioned this, ln gamma is equal to ln gamma C plus ln gamma R. So this is same as UniQuark, right? So ln gamma R is basically equal to what? So it is nu k I summation over k ln of capital gamma k minus ln of capital gamma k I, right? So this is the number of functional group with group index k in component I. This is the group residual activity coefficient of group K, and this is the residual activity coefficient of group K in a solution of functional groups, pertaining to component I. So you see that whenever we are thinking, as I mentioned here, that pure species is also a solution, but pure species has got no activity coefficient. right? So if it is benzene, so it is this, and if it is toluene, it will be this, right? So if I am trying to calculate the residual activity coefficients, contributions of individual group, we can do that, but we have to consider the bias to the same group H for calculating gamma I for the specific compound, where we are considering the solution of functional groups of both the solution of functional groups of only that compound, pertaining to that compound only. So this one, what we have to subtract is the residual activity coefficient of group K in the system of functional group, in the solution of functional group pertaining to component I only. So this is only for component I, right? Now we have to come to the question or the expression, that what are the expressions for capital gamma K? What is the energetic form of this group residual activity coefficient? So you see that Ln is a complex form, gamma K is equal to Qk, the surface area parameter of this functional groups, 1 minus ln of summation over m theta m xi mk minus summation over m theta m xi km divided by its normalized with respect to theta n xi nm. This is sum over n, right? So where this theta m is basically the surface fraction of group M, the same, the surface fraction of group M, and that's equal to this Qm into Xm divided by summation of Qm by Xm, where this capital Xm is the mole fraction of the respective functional group, correct? And the energy term xi mk, or rather the degeneracy term xi mk, is exponential of minus, or mn rather, mn or nm rather, nm, this nm by t. So this includes this r, I am not writing this r separately. So you see that here I am saying that all these parameters we already know. Why? Because initially when the theory was developed, these were not known. So we can think that if there are these two functional groups in the overall solution, right? So there will be two adjustable parameters. So three functional groups, we will have 6 adjustable parameters and so on and so forth. But if you go on using this specific theory to explore the different types of solutions, we will be getting this nm, these functional groups parameters. Now the number of functional groups, it's less than 100, let's say n, right? So how many numbers of this nm we can have? It's all the possible combination. So it will be around the number of mn, it will be around 10, this 1000, right, or 100 into 100, right? A 10,000 database, it's not a big issue. So you can have all these tabulated, and actually it is less than 10,000 because the number of functional groups less than this 100. So we can have all the possible interaction parameters of the different combinations for different combinations of functional groups. So unique one, if I have this database, may be regarded as a zero parameter model. We don't need any parameters and we can actually solve for, but provided we should have the access to the database and we can solve for this activity coefficient. Okay? So that's all about this activity coefficient models and module 2, right? So let's have a discussion regarding 1 and 2 elementary problems and after that we will stop.